Hi guys, Dave in Texas here, and what you're looking at is a cracked little SG, poor baby. Anyway, the owner wants it fixed, and he wants it fixed right. So, quick fix on these, you see they glue it and it continues to crack and makes a mess of things. They try force glue down into the crack, doesn't work, just make it worse. And you also have a crack on the route for the pickup right here, which is not a good spot at all. Which is going to take a separate type of repair, right? But the first one I'll show you and talk about on this, before I get into it, is the actual work I'm going to do to fix this. The way it should be done to save it for future years. You can see the crack. You can see the crack's already spreading because it started out here and it spread past the horn, and it will continue to follow the grain of the wood right on down unless you put a stop to it, right? So what I'm going to do is come in at about a 45-degree angle. But to do this, of course, first of all, you have to drill a pilot hole. And let me grab some things and I'll show you what I'm talking about and how it's done. Because a lot of people think, oh, I'll just grab you a tiny bit and just go in at 45 degrees and just drill that sucker. I wish it were so simple, right? Let me grab a drill bit here for example and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You'll actually see this. Now what I do, I pick my spot on the guitar. Let's take a flat side. I take my spot on the guitar, we're going to drill the hole, and I go straight down at first. And I drill, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch into the wood, straight up and down, right? With a small pilot drill, right? And once I back that back out again, then I can actually come in at 45 degrees and not skip it, along the wood and make a mess of it, or end up having to turn the wrong direction on me, because at that point it's deep enough, the hole is at a 45-degree angle to hold it to let me continue on through. And that's what I want to try to show you and do on camera. And if it gets to be too much, I'll just have to say, hey guys, that's the hole, and show you the finished work. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to do that, and once I do get it in there, what I'll be doing is sanding this down, making it nice and flat again, right? As well as putting just a bead of very thin super glue on there. It's really watery. Just get down in there with the needle I've got. And that just finished the top of it off, and then I'll come back and shoot it with some black flat matte paint. Of course, he said he didn't want it restored, he just wants it fixed. That's the least expensive way to do it. You want this restored, well, that's when you start talking about doing the finish again, and much larger area to have to cover to sand down, all that kind of good stuff. And restore job is a lot, trust me, a lot more money, okay, than just to fix it and get it look, nice again. So right now I'm hunting through my drawer of shame to find a few things, such as the number 10 glue. I'm a little ahead of myself, I'll show you that. That's what I'll be using. Number 10 glue, it's just thinner than water, and it works perfectly on these whippet type tips that you see inside of it. That will be near the very finish of it before I do a sand up and paint up. And I've also got a couple of the needles over here that I can actually inject with, but I don't think I'll be doing that because I still have to drill some holes in there, tiny holes, and plug those with wood putty and get the job done. But the safest thing to do, if you want to do it right, is to go ahead and drill that hole in there, get it in there right, and that guitar will hold there forever. You can bounce it all you want on that horn, it won't crack. Crack somewhere else, but it won't crack there because you got a steel joint in there. And glue, yeah, you drop it again or bang it, it will crack again and it will splinter even further than it is now going down this line of the grain. So, hang in there guys while I set up and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'll be looking through my little bit box here for a second. Find me the right size bit, right? And the smallest I got is 1/16, which is what I'll start off with to start that pilot hole. Okay, I've got my part, well, my spot marked, guys. So I'm gonna go into this, right here. Can you see that or not? Yeah, you can see it. Okay, I want to make sure I do this right. I'm sorry if my hand's in the way or whatever, but I've got to do this right the first time. And there's your starting hole. All right. Then with the next hole, you're going to take it in 45 degrees into the wood, since you got a good start. And to do this, guys, I'm trying to think how I can still show this to you on the camera. I just don't know how. So you can see this. Nope, you can't see this. Well, best thing to do is just show you the finished work, guys. It's just too much to be in the way. Anyway, well, I've done, I went straight through and went to the other side of that split. And I'll try to get enough of a size in there once I go to a bigger drill bit. Of course, I'm using the tiniest I've got, but I'll go with a bigger bit and open that up. You know, believe it or not, guys, but this is the 4th time I've started to do this work on this guitar. 4th time I've been interrupted. I can't believe it's time to close today. It's 4 o'clock. It's time to shut down. I've got 2 new guitars in and an amp that's supposed to have been here that didn't make it. But anyway, I'll continue on with this and show you what I'm doing and show you how I fill in that hole with that screw. And I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, well, you know, maybe if I were to go in there and saturate that hole and saturate that hole with some super glue, that may be a less intrusive way to get in there and set this thing up. But, okay guys, I've changed my mind on working on this particular guitar's body about putting a screw in it. I don't want to go any thicker than I've already gone with this, and what I'm going to do is use a Allen wrench and come in here with my thinnest Allen wrenches and cut these off and put those through as braces. If that makes any sense. And get those in there to support that crack. So I still have to get some more depth on this one hole. But I don't want to spread this anymore, and it's already spreading. You know, the crack, you'll look at this. It's still the same, you know, size, so I don't want to make it any bigger. And I still have to deal with that one on the inside, on the other side of the pocket. There's not a lot of wood to work with there. I may have to go with Allen in that as well. But definitely this needs to be supported somehow with a screw or with some type of metal rod in there. I think that may be my best bet, and just replace these at a later date. Kind of go in there like this. See, that's deep enough. No, I need to drill a little bit deeper with that bigger hole. And put this in there, cut it off with a hacksaw, and go from there. So hang on there, guys, while I set this up. So we got them coming in from both angles to catch for that wood on the other side. So any type of movement or twist of this is going to be perfect to save this guitar's crack. This has got to go deeper. This is more than deep enough with this one. This goes all the way up to the very edge of the part. But this is about a third of the way through. I want to get this a little deeper to ensure that it's going to capture the other side of that crack. But once inside, that glue should filter through not only the space around the metal, but also towards the crack as well, because I'm going to inject it with a syringe. That should do the trick. Now again, it's just better than gluing it. Originally I planned on putting a much larger hole through this at 45 degrees. and coming in with some stainless steel screws, but I just think I'm just pressing the issue to try to make any larger holes than what I have about right like these, and go from there. With that glue under pressure will seal pretty well. It's very good glue, and should do the trick. So we'll see. Okay, well, this is the last little rod to go down in it, and it won't go all the way through. It'll just go on the very edge, and it'll push rod to get back deeper in there. And the rest of it's glue. So I hold in place right there. That one will stick right there. Now I need some super thin glue to go in there and do its job. And this stuff really does the trick. It is fast and it holds like crazy. Now those two metal rods in there in different directions, different angles, okay? That way that no matter which way you push or turn on this guitar, it's not going to reopen that crack. At least it damn well shouldn't. Like I said, that glue spreads like crazy. But let's get that chance set up, do its thing. Then we'll put some tape over the bottom of it. Then we'll turn it upside down, put some tape in the other holes. And the way we finish it up, we put wood putty in there and fill that in as much as we can, pushing that in with the tip of that whippet again. And we don't want to push those rods anywhere. Well, they'll stay right where they are. They're not sticking out either direction, so that's exactly where they need to be, perfectly placed. And they're just thick enough to go pushed in there so that there's no give once that glue sets. And this beats the heck out of just trying to pour glue down a crack and sanding it off. Of course, we will sand off this crack. We won't have it sticking up like that and make that level again. But in the meantime, this crack should not spread any further. At least in that direction, it should never spread again. So hang in there, guys. Well, before I could even get on the videos yet, look what came in the mail today, guys. Ta-da! Nice little gift for Christmas. And, you know, guys, do not send me gifts. Don't do it. You know, it's very embarrassing. I appreciate it, but don't do it. Okay? I know you got my address, but don't do it. Thanks very much. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Wow. Alright, we don't want to get too much extra going here. We want to fill those holes up so it leaks out the backside. You can always going to sandpaper it anyway. So we got that done. What we'll do, we'll let that cure up in a few seconds. See if we need to add any more later on. And go from there. Now, these little whippets, once you use them, they're pretty much useless unless you use them right away. And that's got time. It takes a little bit of time to set up. But that is really, really quick setting glue. And it's super thin, so it gets way into the crack and into the bond area where I want it to be. Once that sets up, though, what we'll do is go to the other side, see about pouring some glue down in it, and then we'll get some putty in this side, and then pour it from the glue from the other side again. Make sure that we're, you know, setting up properly. It's not just coming through, and make sure that the glue is spreading where it needs to go. So hang in there, guys. Alright, here's the first step. Excuse me. I'll fill in these little tiny holes with some wood putty and then sand those back down there gently. Probably just scrape them with a razor. And fill these holes in too. They're minuscule. I might not be able to fill them in because they're dead even with everything else, but I'll try to. And then shoot this with some flat paint, you know, to match this paint. And Do the same thing here for this little split. Just shoot some paint and just get that out of the way so it's not on his mind. But I'll tape and mask these things up first before I do anything to make sure I don't overspray. And I'll probably hit it with 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 coats to make sure I don't overspray that either, get too thick. But came out real nice. It's very sturdy now. The splits just pretty much disappeared, which I thought it would. So, next step, put a little wood putty in there and seal the holes up, and then let that dry and sand it and shoot it with some paint, and we're done. Hang in there. Okay, I'm back on the SG. It's a day later, and that wood putty's get a chance to dry up, fill those little tiny holes. And of course, there's more than enough wood putty on this, and I'm going to end up with a safety razor. Just kind of shaving off the extras on here and trying to keep it flat so I don't dig into the holes I just filled, and hopefully they won't come out either. Wow, that's messy. I may get my chisel out here in a minute. I'm trying to keep this nice and level. As you can see, the holes themselves are starting to fill in with the wood, and I want to chip that out, but I don't need any excess stuff on here, so I shave that back nice and neat. And that wood putty filled in really nicely those holes I had to put in the star. Wow. So anything below the level, you can see he's got wood putty in it. Nice and filled, like it should have done. Let's flip this stuff off my mat. And we're going to have to probably hand do this with both my hands. The rest of this job. You can see this horn. Maybe I'll show it to you. The horn, different subject. I've got to get in there with this flat edge razor and curve it around this thing. So I got to be careful when I take off more than I want to take off. I have to clean that up later. I just want to peel off any extra glue that got left on behind, like that. That should work. Alright. Anyway, when this thing's all finished and said, what I'm going to do is shoot it with some flat black no gloss paint. And like I said to the guy, I'm not restoring this guitar, I'm just fixing a crack on it and making it look nice again. This, I can't make them look like they're brand new again, not for, spending a little bit of time I can spend on them. But and make them look nice again, and make sure they don't break there again. And that's the most important part, they don't break there again. And I may, after thinking about it, put some reinforced tape across this crack on the route side, lap it over here and lap it over here, put glue to that too to help reinforce that, rather than a metal tape I've got. So that may interfere with the pickup. But I've got strap tape that I can use with glue, with super glue. They'll do a great job. So hang in there, guys, so I get this other stuff out of this putty, this extra putty off this guitar. And as you can see, I hope you can see, hold on a second. It filled in those 2 little holes very nicely. So that will paint up real good once I get all the extra stuff off there. A little piece of sandpaper and go from there. Well, the finish up job on this OSG today is to go ahead and sand this down. It's nice and smooth. Smooth out all this and shoot it with some flat black paint to get it all finished and done. And should look nice afterwards. And it's definitely going to be a safe guitar to play. Will not be falling apart on him. So to show you sanding this, because it's going to be pretty boring, but I'll show you a little bit of it just to help with the video. And basically we're just hitting that area that's split and it rose above the other part of the body so that they're even now, as well as remove any traces of excess glue that I may have left behind. And you can see when I shot that with glue, it pulled that split in some, you know, to help with it. But what I'm trying to do is get it baby butt smooth, so you can't feel it with your finger. And unfortunately I can't do that while it's in front of the camera. There's a little lip on it right there that needs to come off, as well as the excess glue needs to come off here, and sand that down. Get that nice smooth and just shoot it with some black flat paint, and that'd be it, because there's not much to this other than that, you know. So hang in there, guys, when I finish this thing up and show you what it looks like when I'm finished. Hang in there. Okay, well, as you can see, the only thing left is the wood putty, and it's where it's supposed to be. And now I'll tape this up and shoot it with some black flat paint. Get that to go away. Then once it's dried up, we'll let it sit for a while and put the neck back on. But in the meantime, I'll tape that off, make sure that that paint doesn't get too much over it. And I'll be just barely hitting it with that paint. Just really, really light sprays of this stuff. And I'll blend it in as best I can so it doesn't show too much. I've got to cover the area I had to sand in order to get that crack to go away. But the parts that don't need to be painted, I will not be painting those. Just the parts where it has to be painted. And yeah, sure, you can see where it's been painted if you look hard enough. But again, you just want this thing not to crack again. Let's see if I can wrap that around or not. Nope, can't wrap that around. That's got to stay like that. And pretty much all that little area there is going to be shot with paint. I don't think it's going to hurt to get on the inside at all. Let's see. Don't need to go on the top. Sorry guys. What I'm doing again, I said I'm taping this thing up so I don't overspray it too much, or at all really. I'm trying to keep it in your vision so you'll see what I'm doing. Hit that little hole there. Anyway, for all this stuff to spread, the glue and all this stuff, other good stuff, you got to have a decent sized hole to work with. At least be enough to get those needles down in this thing. And that should do it. That should be enough on the tape up to be able to hit that with some paint. And what I'll do is I'll test that paint first, make sure it's spraying right, not spurting, and not making a mess of itself, and go from there. So hang in there, guys. It's about time to do some very, lightweight touch-up painting. Well, that's a pretty good shot at it, right there. And go ahead and touch up the backside once that dries. And that should dry flat. Okay. If not, I can always take something and buff it and sand it up a little bit, make it flatter with some Scotch-Brite sponges. So that's going to take about an hour or so in this weather today to dry up. So I can turn it on the opposite side and clean it up and spray the other side of it. Let that get done. Now when you're doing a big guitar, the whole body, you hang it from a rack. You know, you step back away from it and do all kind of good stuff. But just little spots up. There's no need to hang the guitar, you know, when you're just doing this kind of work. They'll hide that pretty well, and I think you'll be happy with it once it gets back. And as I said before, the main thing is it's not going to crack there again. You know, any other guitar, you just put glue in it, there's always that chance that a crack will continue. This one, it will not. You have to take a hell of a bang to continue on the crack with those lead pieces, those metal pieces in there, those rods. And that's what you should do to a neck. If you have a broken neck, if you can, don't just glue it. Put rods or shims or something through it, you know, some type of brass, some type of bracing. Because glue is going to fail. It's just all there is to it. It's going to fail. And I've seen some really bad glue up jobs that they brought to me and said, well, can you fix this now? And nope. Not unless we break it all pieces again and start over, you know, by just cutting new wood in the neck. Of course, they don't want to pay the price to have that done. That's way over the top. Anyway, hang in there, guys. Let's dries up and we'll come back and shoot the other side. Alright, we've got the paint job finished on the cracks with the LSG, but they've come out really shiny. It's a paint that has its own finish in it. And what we do to dull that back down to a matte, since I didn't have any matte paint with me, is just take a Scotch-Brite sponge. It's gently run over that shiny part and put it back down to the dull again, and it should match up really nicely. So let's give this a shot, right? And see what we come up with. See, immediately goes back to non-shiny. Works pretty good, guys. No more luster, no more shine, just back the way it was before. See that? Nice, nice. And the guitar is now not going to crack in the same spot. See that once there, nice and shiny? Let's just take that back to dull again. It's a little tricky to learn. You don't want to do it too much or go much off the same area you've covered. You don't want to remove all of it. But there you are, back to a flat black. Okay, so that's done. Put the neck back on it, hand him his parts, and we're finished with the stuff for David. And it's not done. Damn it. I just remembered something I need to do to finish this guitar off. And it needs to be done. And I would be remiss if I didn't do it. So, what I've got here is called reinforced tape. It's got the threads of fiberglass through it. It's extremely strong. It's near impossible to tear, unless you know how. There's a trick I've seen people bend it and snap it real quick that I can't do. But for our purposes, we're going to cut it with a pair of scissors and lay it in on this crack where the routing cracked, which is right here. We're going to put it right across the crack and down into the hole. Nice and smooth. Make sure this thing never moves again. Now, of course, this will not stay worth a darn. I'll cut away the excess on here, this up into the neck joint. I'll cut that with an X-Acto knife. I gotta make sure this part down here inside is flat up against the body completely. And the tape will sooner or later give out. So, obvious answer is you go back over this very gently with with the super glue. Yeah, super glue sets up, and that becomes like a cast, as you see on a broken arm. Same support, same results basically. Anyway, I'll come in with an X-Acto knife, cut away the extra, remove that, make sure it's flat up against the body. And you'll see, I'll put over this and have it soak into it. Alright, flat up against the body. Soak into it that very thin super glue that I use on a lot of these projects, which I did use on this guitar as well, on the workup on it. And where I got some of this open, and what I'll do is just kind of ladle that on there just a bit. I'll still use my knife to help spread that about. Make sure that gets done right. All I gotta do is just put a few drops on it like that. It'll soak right in and under. And this thing will never come off. Now the trick, guys, is don't move it. You know, if you got in the wrong spot, well, you're a little too late, because once it soaks behind this tape and sets up with the tape, you'll screw things up pretty good. Make sure that stays where it belongs. There you go. So that little fix will hold that guitar for a long, long time, unless it's just, you know, outright thoroughly just smashed or damaged them on purpose. And you can see I squeezed out some excess from under the tape. That's what you want. You want to know it went under the tape as well as on it. This stuff works pretty good. It's from StewMac. It's number 10 thin super glue. And it lasts a long time, guys, to keep in this little bag they come in and keep the air out of it. And remember to put your lid back on it each time. No big deal. And it does survive temperatures too, as long as you keep it above freezing. Anything below freezing, you have to take it inside, which may happen here soon when that freeze comes in from for Texas. Okay, well, there's a couple of tricks you learned about fixing the, you know, these splits and cracks that may come in handy for you someday. But we'll put this neck back on and put the pickups back in it and screw those. Well, they weren't screwed down; they just actually just put in there. I think I'll just leave the pickups off, put the neck back on it, and call it a day. You know, and let them have it like that, because the internal parts aren't in there either. It's not set up to play at all. But that's about it, guys. Any questions, give me a holler. Dave in Texas. Bye.